Hello, everyone. My name is Israel.
The power of one, the power of one. Oh boy, the power of one. It just takes one person to change the world, person to change mindset, one person to just start a whole revolution of change, right? It's all about the mindset, it's all about perspective, it's all about what are we willing to do for the greater good? What are we willing to do to help each other? What are we willing to do to make sure somebody else doesn't go through whatever it is that you went through, or experience what you may have experienced, and all of that good stuff. Good evening, New Season Gospel FM. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are listening from. Thank you so much for joining as always and welcoming Yes with Yesse into your life. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, buenas tardes, buenas noches, buenos días a todos que nos están escuchando alrededor del mundo. Aquí somos bilingüe, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so I'm excited always to be here with you guys on a Thursday. Here it's about 6:11, so a little time for you guys to get in, log in, and share the broadcast. Let others know that we are here. Let our New Season Gospel FM family know that we are here and ready to go just to talk a little bit of this, a little bit of that, of what's in my mind today. And so, yeah, you guys all know already, I'm a community girl, all things services, disability, anything to help the people, right? To help the people, to help the people based on experiences maybe. And sometimes, as I experienced very recently, even though I may not have experienced something at that particular specific level as that person or family, it's still hard because you still have a sensitivity, an extra, I would say, extra sense of sensitivity to the youth, to our young adults, to the family, because they're going through something, right? Whatever that something might be. And I feel like sometimes we don't take enough time to really learn that experience, to really learn about that situation, to really be like, hey, what can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I be, even if it's just a support, right? And so, what can we do to make the world a better place, right? It only takes one person to change the world, one small act of kindness, no matter how small, no matter how big for that matter, right? So what can we do? What can you do today, tomorrow, later on? What can I do to change the world? And sometimes literally it's just being there. Literally, sometimes it's just being there. Sometimes it's just listening. Sometimes it's just, being that support to that person, to that family, to whoever it is that might need that, that support and that ear to listen, right? So what can we do to be that change? Good evening, Sister Mina. Thank you so much for joining. And so we're going to talk about change. Talk about change. And I think my life mission is, to change the perspective of disability in society, right? I think that's, for me personally, that's my thing. Anything I do, I do with wholeheartedly, to be like, what? Yes, we have a disability, but we can do this. We can be involved. We are a part of community also. And it's okay on both sides, right? Because we learn rather from each other, from our experiences and all that good stuff. And so I've shared before with you guys, I have a young man, long time mentee and client of mine coming to church. He's been coming to church. He loves it. Now he's recently become employed with me as well, where I am. And so he's happy all the way around. He's happy. And I was asking Mom, I'm like, how's he doing? How do you see him? His behavior or his self-care and all these different things. And she said, he's doing so much better. And why he's doing so much better, or one of the reasons he's doing so much better, of the many reasons, is one, he's coming to church. The best decision he made is, getting close to God and just really working on his faith, his belief, and coming to God, to the house of God and community and all that. And then also working, So he's keeping his mind busy, his body busy. He's working, and when we make him work, that's for sure. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But he's doing so good. I'm very proud because it's all about what I always talk about. It's all about community. It's about what we do. It's about what we are a part of, and being a part of, not just to be a part of something, but being around and being a part of something bigger than self. Being a part of bigger than self, being a part of a family of God, being, increasing in your faith. I mean, what better way to grow than that? And then in addition to that, to be able to say, I'm working, I'm making a living, and I'm doing something that he's really good at. The young adults love him. When they don't see him, they ask for him and all that good stuff. So he's doing something that he's really charismatic and he's really good at. And all of that counts for something to make him a better person, and just really in a self-discovery kind of way, learning who he is and likes, dislikes, can the things that he can do versus what maybe he can't do or would need help to do, and all that. So all of that is important. When it comes to the change begins with yourself, right? The change begins with you, and so that's so important. So very proud of that. He's doing awesome. And someone said to me the other day, but it was funny. He said, we don't see he said, I don't see his disability, I just see him. It's just kind of how we see you, Jesse. Many people call me Yeye. It's like we just see you, we don't see the disability, and that makes me happy because that's what I fight for my whole life, right? See the person first and not so much the disability. And he doesn't he's kind of the male version of me. We don't carry that particular disability or whatever it is on our sleeve and oh, well, I have this or I have that. No, it's kind of like, if you ask me, cool, I'll tell you. If you don't ask me, then that's okay too. If you don't want to know or you're not curious, it's fine. And so that's the best part, right? It's like, it's not noticed, and it's not to say it's not noticed, because obviously it's obvious, when we walk we wobble, it's obvious, but it just doesn't matter. And that's the cool part. It just doesn't matter. We're human, just like everybody else. And so Heido, good evening, thank you so much for joining. Please, again, as you come in and share the broadcast, let others know that we are here. And so, as I mentioned earlier, change, as we've heard many times, is inevitable, right? It's like something you can't really avoid. When we talk about change in life, right? Change in life, everything changes. What you wear changes. Where you go changes. Where you live changes. Where you work changes. Where you go to school, and if you go to school, or different things like that. All those changes. Change. I personally don't like change. I don't like change, but that's a whole different thing. I should say I'm a little bit more comfortable with change now than I have ever been before. But I have never been a change kind of person. I like to be settled. I like to be stable, right? And so I had to learn that just because there's change doesn't mean that you're not stable. Like, it's okay to change. It's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay to do something new. It's okay for all of that. And so we're constantly going through change. And so with that, something that is always going through changes as well is when we talk about a different kind of change, which is systematic change, right? Systematic change being change in the system, government system, whatever it is, there's always change, right? And so I was reading something, and I want to just kind of read it to you guys so you have an overall description, if you will, of what I'm talking about when it comes to the systematic change, because just like inclusion now is something different for everybody. It means something different, and to me it's like, no, that's not what it means. Right? So when we talk about systematic change, it's a fundamental or thorough transformation of a system to create a lasting difference, system and change for a long term. It involves modifying policies, processes, procedures, relationships, and most importantly for me, the mindset, your mind, the power of the mind and what you believe, and the power structures to address the underlying issues. Systematic change can also refer to shifting the components of a system and how they interact to create a new system with a different behavior. Ooh, I like that. So systematic change can also refer to shifting the components of a system and how they interact to create a new system with a different behavior. Okay, so we can change something can currently exist, it's not working, like it's not doing what it's supposed to do, or it's not reaching the end goal, and then people come along and with the same mindset try to recreate it or to change it. If they have that same mindset with which it was created the first time, that it didn't work, and if we have the same mindset recreating it, is it going to work the second time around? Absolutely not. So it's so important, as we know, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It is not until we are transformed by the renewing of our mind that nothing will change. Nothing in me will change. Nothing in you will change. Nothing will change. Not even when we talk about, political systems or medical systems or anything like that. Systematic change can also refer to shifting the components of a system, whether it's, and again, I always go to the disability services and all these things, right? Systematic, like we have Medicaid waiver. I just read, and I always talk about it because it affects me. It literally affects me, like boom, right? I just read that the Medicaid waiver services are now continuing and increasingly working more towards institutionalization of people with developmental disabilities, meaning they're taking away funding from everywhere else to keep us in independent living, to place us in institutions that currently exist. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not happening. But that is a system. That is a system which requires a systematic change to be like, no, there's funding out there. Let's use the funding to, advocate for inclusion of individuals with disabilities in the community to stay in the community. That will be a different type of now systematic change that will be required, right, to develop. And so I'm talking about this because my biggest one of my biggest pet peeves as of very recently is, when do we consider someone an adult? Basically, when do we consider someone an adult that can make their own decisions, and what can interfere with their inability to make their own decisions, to sign their own documents, because they cognitively, mentally, due to mental health deficiencies and issues, they cannot make their own decisions at the moment, right? And even though they can't make their own decisions at this particular moment, they're still 18, so they should be able to make their own decisions and sign documents. And just for example, they should be able to tell you when to be released from a hospital. They should be able to tell you where they want to go. They should be able to tell you, I don't want to drink this medication. And I get it. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is the way that the system is set up. We can't take away the person's rights. As a quote unquote adult, we can't take away their rights to make their own decisions. I get all of that. What I don't agree with is that we should not be selective in the age preference of allowing someone to be considered an adult and make their own decisions, even though they have disabilities that do not allow them to make these decisions. Because a person with a cognitive disability, with whether it's Down syndrome, whether it's whatever it is that impedes their ability to make decisions like an adult will with no disability, they're not that quick to take away those rights either, right? So, which again, they literally cannot make their own decisions. So, and to be honest, a lot of times parents are not willing to revoke their rights, their full rights, to make certain decisions, because then it's kind of like, okay, you're not an adult, because as someone told me earlier, well, that's their right. That's their right to make decisions. Yes, that is their right. Yes, that is my right to make a decision as a person with a disability, my own rights, right? But you cannot, when I say you, when we talk about systems and systematic changes, you can't tell me that it is exactly the same, me making my own decisions versus someone that with a whether it's a mental health crisis or whether it's Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, or something that impedes their ability to think for themselves, period, that we can make the same decisions or decisions the same way. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. And I do understand with regards to mental health issues or situations versus disability, versus disability from a cognitive, low IQ perspective. I get that it is totally different. But why do we have the right, rhetorical question, feel free to jump in. Why do we feel we have the right to it's not correct what I'm saying, but why do we feel the right that it is okay that someone going through mental health crisis that has lived with mental health since they were young has the right to make their own decisions that they don't know is good for them or not, hence why they have been diagnosed with mental health and take medication and counseling and all these different things? How do we feel? Why do we feel that it is okay for them because they are 18 to make their own decisions without their parent consent? I don't get that. I'm not saying take away their rights. I'm not saying any of that, but I do think that there has to be some kind of intermediate, change or something that will make the process a little bit easier for parents to get temporary, what do they call it? All those legal terms to get temporary custody or whatever the case may be for that particular individual that cannot clearly make decisions on their own right now, but may be able to when they get better in the future. So why can't they get the ability to make those decisions for them temporarily without jumping through hoops and lawyers and all these things? One of the things that I was helping this person with was finding a form that for like a legal guardianship, basically. It was a guardianship form. And then on this specific guardianship form, someone was like, just do this form, and for medical purposes, it'll be fine. Nowhere on that form was I able to check a check mark by a box that said anything about temporary, rights over so and so due to their medical situation right now. Nothing medical. It was financial, it was property, it was insurance, it was all of the power of attorney. Yes, that's one. It totally slipped my mind. But the POA, the power of attorney, is one of them. Why, as a system, as a government, whatever it is, why do we feel that we have a right not to allow these families or these people to say, you know what, I'm going to give this parent or whatnot, the rights temporarily or whatever it is, until I get better. Of course, the client's not going to say that themselves, right? Because if they're anything like Miss Independent, I want to do it myself. I'm good. Okay, but you're not. So where are where's our system that can continue or to better advocate for the people that need the help, people that know you cannot make decisions for yourself right now. So, you need help. So we continue to suppress that need for help and be like, and feel like it's not okay to ask for help because I don't know what's good for me at the moment. So I can't ask you for anything. If my parents' hands are tied or my guardians for me because they're not my guardian. And in order to become my legal guardian, because I'm now 18, they have to go to a lawyer. They have to jump through hoops. They have to get a form notarized. And even better, the form doesn't have the information on it that I need. What am I supposed to do while my child or my quote unquote adult that has the mindset of a child at the moment is in a critical situation in a hospital? How does that make sense? That's my, and I was really, bummed about it and distraught about it. And it's, I had to keep it together throughout the entire experience that I experienced with one of my clients. But when I left that environment, I was like, whoa, like I saw things that I had never seen before. I saw, somebody in a state that I had never seen before. And we talk about, and I think that's why it kind of, bugged me a little bit, is because we take mental health so lightly as a society. that it was like a movie playing in my in my mind. Like we take it so lightly. We take it so lightly as a people, as a community, as entities, as across the board. We just take mental health super light, from what I see, and we have to stand up and do more. We have to stand up and do more. I always say, when it comes to disability, I always put myself as an example. I can advocate for something until I can no longer breathe. But it is not until people that look nothing like me, that are quote unquote able-bodied, and don't necessarily experience what I experience on a day-to-day basis. It is not until people like that, people like you, can start and continue to advocate on my behalf for more change. Because I promise you, these, representatives and service providers are tired of seeing me. Oh, there she comes again. There comes Jessie again. There comes the girl with the cane again, and all the other nicknames that they probably give me. But again, it's not until somebody that looks nothing like me advocates that, it's not until then that the real change is going to come. And it was interesting because I was at this place, and there was this gentleman there. He works in this facility, and he was a dark-skinned gentleman. And I'm always curious because I'm always curious. And so he's talking, and the family's there and stuff. And I don't know what he said, but because I heard him talking and I heard his accent, and I said, where are you from? And he said, I'm Dominican and Panama. I was like, nice, because he started talking Spanish. So Dominican and Panama, dark-skinned gentleman. And I was like, yes, because he's somebody there that can hear everything, whether it's Spanish, English, and other languages, to be a better advocate. Hopefully, God willing, he's his heart is in the right place, and the best advocate for all the people that come in and out of that door. I was like, that was awesome. That was a side note, but I thought that was really cool. But yeah, this whole systematic thing. So, okay, we went through the whole systematic thing and what that means. When you're an adult rather, and you're considered an adult at 18 versus at 21. So at 18, like this person, they're an adult, so they make their own decisions. However, we don't allow, you're not considered rather an adult to drink and for other things. So why do we get to pick and choose what you're an adult for at 18 versus what you're an adult for at 21, and vice versa? Right. And then when you put in there the health concerns, the mental health, the cognitive disabilities, what are we doing to better protect these people that need us the most from making wrong decisions, from hurting themselves, from all these different things, because they are quote unquote 18? Isn't 18 that you're considered an adult? But are you really an adult at 18? 18 is just a number, right? So as a system, as a people, or rather as a government and all these things, without people being in their feelings because, my rights are being taken away, your rights are being protected. You want to talk about rights being taken away? How about the right for people with disabilities not to get married? Because if they get married, they lose their health care. Talk about those rights. What about the rights of people with disabilities who cannot live in an independent living setting, living in their home because, they have a developmental disability. So that must mean they can't do anything for themselves. So let's place them in an institution. Those you want to talk about rights. What about those rights? Or not having the quote unquote right to own a home, own more than one asset. Because if you own more than one asset, a car, more than one home, whatever it is, of value, then you lose your lifeline of having health insurance. Let's talk about those rights. And that's just, a snippet, a little bit of what we go through as people with disabilities, where our rights are literally taken away. Home of the brave, land of the free, yet I can't work and make good money because I lose my stuff that I need. And I have to stay part-time because if you work full-time, you're done. You lose all your benefits or all the other stuff that I mentioned. So why? We're picking and choosing, the freedom rather for people with disabilities. We're choosing what age we become adults, regardless of that disability, kind of doing a disservice to the people. I'm not saying change the age of, change the age of, when you become an adult from a legal perspective. No, but we have to have some common sense that people in certain situations cannot be deemed, an adult or competent when they're not, and they need help. Because when that happens, I'm good, I'm good. Let me sign because I'm 18. They end up in the streets. They end up in the streets, and then they end up to me a couple of years later, or somebody like me. Oh, Miss Yesse, I'm homeless. I'm in the streets. What's your diagnosis? Oh, I don't know. And then I have to go figure out what the disability is based on the agencies that they receive help from at some point. They have mental health, and then what? They're not receiving Social Security income because, it's hard to get it if they're not deemed, again, disabled or unable to work early on. And it's a mess. It's a mess. So that's just to say that the discrepancies is across the board when it comes to, the disability, the ability versus what they qualify for or not, and what I'm able or not able to do because of that disability. I didn't choose to be born with a disability. Somebody doesn't choose to have mental health. So why do you get to choose what's considered an adult or not when it comes strictly to people with cognitive disabilities, mental health, that cannot make decisions for themselves? Okay. It just drives me crazy, and I don't think it's fair. So mentally competent, but 18, and you're an adult. Okay. So we talk about a couple things, right? We talk about a couple things as we explained what the systematic change is. So when we talk about changing that mindset, if you will, of what systematic change is, what it includes, and how it will help and benefit the people, intentionality. Intentions are everything. What is your intention? You can do all these different things, but what is your intention? Goals, purpose, right? There's a goal and a purpose for everything. Even policies, procedures, laws, and all these different things. There's a goal and there's a purpose. What is it? And who does it benefit? Who does it benefit to say, or to say or to deem somebody of age at 18 versus at 21? Who does it benefit? What does it all mean? The dollar in your pocket, money, right? So who is it benefiting? What benefits are you getting from it? Sustainability. The change cannot be a one-time effort, and it should be sustainable over time. So it's not going to be sustainable probably right away, but the systematic change should be sustainable over time, right? The same way we do a business, with the business plan, the business financials, the staffing, your board members, like all these different things, losses versus wins, right? So it should be sustainable over time, and we should be able to use previous experiences, things that have happened in the news, and all these different things to say, you know what, we need a change. We need a change. Maybe just go on a strike or something. I don't know at this point. Being dynamic, the effort that should be, the effort rather should be dynamic, should be something different, and it may need to be adjusted as issues arise. I know that sounds like a lot of work, but maybe it's not so much of a lot of work when you're saying that it should be adjusted as issues arise. Whatever it is, a law, a rule, a regulation. Listen, I'm very, I have been, and I am currently, just not as much, active in different political things, whether it's the advisories committees or just the monthly meetings. Like I go to all these things and I meet a lot of people, and it's really cool. But I see a lot of stuff too that I'm like, what, really? Like, we're still talking about this? It's systematic. We're still talking about this. We talked about this 2 months ago, and nothing happens. So that's the bummer. Nothing tends to happen yet. We need it now, not yesterday. And we needed it yesterday if we're saying we need it now, not tomorrow, not tomorrow. So sustainability, the change that can't be just a one-time effort, and it should be sustainable over time. Dynamic, the effort should be dynamic and may need to be adjusted as the issue arises. Collective responses. Systematic change should build collective responses to problems rather than individual solutions, right? So to problems. What's the problem? Well, we're giving rights to people that are 18 because they are 18 and not necessarily because they are mentally able to make these decisions. That's a problem. um, and that happens to so many people, not just one person, right? So it's not considered an individual solution for me as a person with a disability. Let's increase the amount of money people with disabilities can make so that they can continue to receive their health insurance without fear of it being taken away. That's not just for me. I'm not the only one that needs it. That's 1.5 billion people that need that particular systematic change, or the ability to work, have a business, be an entrepreneur, make money, own a home, own a car, get married without the fear of all of that being taken away if I make too much money. And then going into a facility or a nursing home or whatever it is, because it's the law, right? It's the law. It is what it is. No, it's not the law. No, it's not just it is what it is. We're talking about people here, not just a number, right? And we have to get away from that. We're people first and we're not a number. And so also values, all of that I think goes down to values, right? It all comes down to values and what do we value as humans? Do we value humans? Do we value people? Do we value, what they truly can't do, who they are, what their needs are? Do we value all of that? I mean, it sounds sad, but I don't think so. I don't think we see that true value of people when we're doing all of these things, because we see the dollar sign. We see, which is not wrong. Don't chew me out. It's not wrong, but we see the dollar sign. We see the potential lawsuit coming. We see all the negative stuff before we see any good, right? So aim to change the attitudes, behaviors, laws, policies, and institutions to better reflect values. And just for example, those values that we advocate for, one, because we have been or are in need of them, or because what we do, and those values of inclusion of individuals with disabilities in the community, fairness, and the diversity. Which is why it was really cool meeting that gentleman today, because there was all diversity and he spoke Spanish, and like that he's able to help so many people. And keep an eye out and an ear open for whatever he might need to hear in order to be a part of the solution of that particular problem. So that was really cool. So those things are super duper important to me for all those reasons. The values, the collective responses, the being dynamic, the sustainability, the intentionality. And when we talk about sustainability, unfortunately, disability. When I say that, disability services, disability recreation programs, whatever it is, it's not considered sustainable, as a thing that makes money, that can make a living and all that stuff, because of the mindset of disability still today. Like disability is less than, disability is not good enough. People with disabilities are not good enough. They can't work. They're not talented. They have no skill. And if they only knew, and when I say they, if society, if the people, if governments only knew that hidden gems and hidden talents in people with disabilities, including physical, cognitive, mental health, if you only understood and knew that because of that difference, because of that thing that might be weird or extra or what, because of that is exactly why a lot of individuals with disabilities have those extra, as a friend of mine says, superpower abilities to be super good at something. Because we've been told no so many times, because we have been let down, because we have been rejected, because we have been, placed into these clustered small classrooms, told that we'll never amount to anything and you're not going to learn and you should be in an institution. Excuse me? Right? All those things that people with disabilities are still told today. That is exactly why we need to continue to advocate, to change that perspective of disability. And I am so duper grateful that that God has given me the ability to create this world for myself, this life for myself, where I genuinely feel the complete opposite of everything I just said. As far as like the self value, like I know I have value. I know I have talent, skills, abilities. I know nobody does what I do. I know that. I know I can advocate for a child, a teenager, a young adult, and a mom and a dad the same way I can do for anybody else. I know I can do that. I know I can advocate for somebody whether they have a disability or not. As long as you're human and you bleed red, I'm advocating for you if I have a reason to. Right? And so I know I can do that. And I know that I was left on this earth to do that. I have to remind myself of that. And I surround myself by people that that remind me of that. And so when I see these different situations, like the one that I just experienced, I have to work on that because I can't let myself get that emotional. But it broke my heart. It broke my heart because we need to do better. We need to do better as a people. We need to do better as a society. We need to do better to educate each other and ourselves on all of these things. I'm not I'm not an expert in mental health or anything like that, but I know a thing or two about law. I know a thing or two about humanity, about being human, about respecting rights, about the hurt of a parent. You know, I'm not a parent. I don't have children of my own, but dang it, you would think I am with all these children that I work with. But I also know I can't change it. You know, I can't change. I can influence, I can advocate, I can speak, I can do all of that, but I can't change reality. I can't change reality. I can't change the reality for any particular person. I can influence. And so I have to be very careful. I have to be very careful that I don't get overly involved in physically, literally, or emotionally. I just don't like the service to be done to people. That's why this whole thing got me, because I don't like to see the service done to people. And not that there was, there was a specific disservice or whatnot for this particular individual at the moment, but it was just a whole situation as a whole, how it felt like she was being given, if you will, a disservice, being told, yeah, you're an adult, you can do whatever you want. No, you can't, because you're not in a mental capacity to do so. And then, God knows what else happens where she is. So it was just super duper overwhelming. And I learned that I cannot soak myself so much, invest, if that's the right word, invest in something emotionally so much that it's going to affect me. Like it was not pretty. It was not pretty. But yeah, even though it wasn't pretty, I like to learn from those experiences because it lets me know how things are in real life, not in Jesse's world, but in real life. Like, this is how it is. Like, and this is what needs to be improved and changed and all that stuff. And so a lot of these changes that we are in need of, rather, is across the board, not just for mental health, but across the board. And so it's a really cool thing for me to be able to learn about these experiences and the need for these experiences as we talk. So, oh, that felt good. That felt good. So yeah, that's what, if you're, passing through and you wonder, what is this? That's what we do here on Yes with Yesse. We talk about all things disability, services, inclusion of individuals with disabilities, all that stuff, and just talk about what's happening today, in the lives or from a legal perspective of individuals with disabilities, and what can we do to make it better. We can always do something to make it better. Always, we can do something to make it better. And so, what can you do? That's why I posted that question earlier, is what can you do to make it better? And, what can you do and what are you willing to do, right? What can you do and what are you willing to do to make life better for someone else? That is the question. For me, as I mentioned, I'm a lifetime advocate for individuals with disabilities, and then all people, for that matter, all people. And I hope you are too. I hope that you can understand or detect or just feel when you need to advocate for somebody and be the change that you want to see in the world. And you might be the only person that does that advocating for that individual. Start by showing compassion. Lord Jesus, you took the words right out of my mouth. Sister Mina said, yes, start by showing compassion. And that's interesting you say that, because one of the things that I was thinking earlier today is we turn our head, away, or we turn our eyes rather away from the situation. And what is it? None of my business, not my problem. So I don't have to do anything about it. Listen, if you're that person and you say, not my business, not my problem, you are the problem. You are part of the problem. And so start by showing compassion and caring, talking, and I'm grateful for that. I can do that with people and talk, talk about it. Talk about your feelings and what you can do to change it. I was devastated, and I learned, I realized, I remembered, like, listen, one, you can't take things to heart like that. Two, it is what it is. Sometimes it is what it is. It's the law. What are you going to do about it? And right there, I'm like, I'm going to Tallahassee. I'm changing it. So, any little bit that we can do helps, right? But start by showing compassion. Don't turn away from the situation. Know that if you do that and you don't do anything about it, you're unfortunately being a part of the problem. And that's not what we want to do. We want to be a part of the solution more than we want to be a part of the problem. So on that note, thank you all so much for joining Yes with Yesse. It's been awesome. I love to just come and let it go and talk about it. And it makes me feel better. And I hope that you guys take away a nugget or two with you. And you never know who you might meet tomorrow that might be encountering a similar situation or needs some kind of advice. So anything that you can take it, run with it. Always, take the notes. You have the notes on your phone, right? And say, Jesse said, and you can do that, no problem. And so if you know anybody going through something, anybody going through a situation, they have a disability, they need an advocate for their services, whether it's whatever it is, and whatever that disability might be, whether it's physical, cognitive disability, developmental, mental health, whatever it is, let them know that there is help out there. People do care. Again, that's a way of showing compassion, and let them know that you know me. Yes with Yesse. Hey, there's this girl on Yes with Yesse. Yes with Yesse. And you can visit yeswithyesse.com. Yeswithyesse.com, here courtesy of New Season Gospel FM, on with you every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And go to Yes with Yesse. Yeswithyesse.com, and you'll see there what I'm all about as a person that provides services, whether you need information, resources, a simple phone number, whatever it is, you'll see yeswithyesse.com, and you'll be able to reach me there. So if you have a situation that you want to share or you need advice on, whatever it is, you can feel free to contact me there. Yeswithyesse.com, yeswithyesse@gmail.com, and I'll be able to help you out as best I can, or steer you in the right direction of somebody that can, because we do not have all the answers. No one person ever has all of the answers. So, all things disability here on Yes with Yesse. Thank you so much for joining here, courtesy of New Season Gospel FM. Join us 24/7 on New Season Gospel FM, newseasonfm.com. And please remember to support your favorite station. Support your favorite station, Brother Keel. Good to see you. And if you want to do that, your support is everything to New Season, and a little bit of support goes a whole long way. So support. Ways to give are scrolling across the screen, that is, and that's Cash App, $New Season WC, $New Season WC, Zelle 954-536-1821, Zelle 954-536-1821, PayPal wordmusic47, wordmusic47 at hotmail.com. And those are all the different ways that you can give to your number one gospel station, New Season Gospel FM, a station that literally embraces the community. It's your community station. And And that's what it's all about. So you would be supporting New Season Worship Center, our ministry, and all of our programming that takes place here on our station. So don't miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, New Season Gospel FM. Subscribe. And while you're on it, you can also subscribe to Yes with Yesse. Yes with Yesse. Across all social media platform guides. It just happened. It just worked out that way. Yeswithyesse.com on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all across the board. And follow my crazy as I work to make this world a better place. I try, and be an advocate for those that need it most, and be a voice for those that need a voice. And thank you all for your support, for joining me this evening. Sister Mina, Sister Millie, good evening. Hi Yanni, Laura, Sister Laura, thank you so much. Brother Akil, of course. Sister Mina, thank you guys for joining, and anyone that I can't see across all social media platforms, and those of you listening online, we see you. So thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Thursday on another episode of Yes with Yesse. Sí con Yesse. So if you haven't done so, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, let others know that we are here, and we will see you again tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is Friday, bright and early, 6:30 a.m. for In His Presence morning devotion, followed by the Pastor Steve Show. Always a fun time on Friday mornings. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much, Sister Mina. And don't forget, share the broadcast so that others know that we are here, and send them reminders. We're here every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Yay. All right. So thank you so much. Here goes one of my last favorites, because they're all my favorites. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And again, I will see you on the other side of the screen first thing tomorrow morning in His Presence at 6:30 a.m. Until then, have an amazing rest of your day and weekend. And again, I look forward to seeing you next Thursday, same time, same place, here on Yes with Yesse.
Fíjame en ti, mi corazón en ti, que cada respirar exalte tu majestad. Mis manos alzo a ti, me rindo todo a ti, de tu grandeza, Dios, me quedo asombrado. Toda gloria, todo honor al que todo dio por mí. Yo quiero estar cerca de ti. Fíjame en ti, fíjame en ti. Distracciones, hoy rindo a tus pies. Fíjame en ti. Fix my eyes on you, set my heart on you. Let every breath I breathe speak of your glory. I lift my hands to you, surrender all to you. The weight of your majesty
Are you facing a relationship crisis? Don't know what to do next? Call our family counseling office and get the help you need today. 954-533-8187. 954-533-8187.